Hi, everyone. This is Autumn here with Black Spring on your Thanksgiving. Um, I'd like to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone, wherever you are celebrating, whether you are home in the States or if you are abroad. I just had an idea. This is my first time going live, by the way. So we'll see what happens with my technology here. But I just had an idea and I wanted to share it. I've been thinking about like some of the debates and some of the topics or some of the talking points that kind of keep coming up on the actual stages. And also, this is about generally about President Obama's, he keeps making a lot of appearances, or just like he's almost like an advisor, like he's an active advisor to the candidates, or I think it's like select candidates. But the specific point that I was trying to share the other night was actually the Obama coalition that Kamala Harris mentioned in the fifth debate the other night. Well, I happened to stumble onto a video, and I will share with you in the comments, or either I'll make it a point to share it. But it comes from an organization that I'm not advocating for, which is the Nation of Islam. But it comes from the minister Louis Farrakhan, and it talks about Obama's, what is his legacy. And I was thinking, I think about coalition, and I think of the past coalitions, whether it be FDR during the Great Depression, or I think about what the coalition would look like. But this particular video, I don't own the rights to it. I found it on YouTube, so I'm going to share it with you now. And this is the Minister Farrakhan, and he's talking about the allegiance to the Democrat Party, and basically doing the same thing as President Donald Trump, asking, you guys have been loyal members to this party for decades. What did you get? So I'm going to show it to you right now. I'll let you see the photograph as best as I can. I'll even share the title with you as soon as I can. But I want to play the words because I think it's pretty insightful what he's saying here. So I'll start now.
So you Democrats, you've been in that party a long time. Answer me. What did you get? You got a president. He's worried about his legacy. Well, you want Hillary to get in to protect your legacy because Trump said the minute he get in, he's going to reverse the Affordable Care Act. Because that's your signature achievement. To show you how hateful the enemy is, he hates that you achieved what you did achieve. So he said, I'm going to tear it up when I get in. So he don't want his legacy destroyed, Mr. President.
It's going to get to it, I promise, soon.
Let the man do if he get in what he wants. Because he's not destroying your legacy. If your legacy is bound up in an Affordable Care Act that only affects a few million people, and they're trying to make it really difficult for those of us who signed up, that's not your legacy. But I just want to tell you, Mr. President, you're from Chicago, and so am I. I go out in the street with the people. I visited the worst neighborhoods. I talked to the gangs. And while I was out there talking to them, they said, Farrakhan, the president ain't never come. Could you get him to come and look after us? There's your legacy, Mr. President. It's in the street, but you're suffering people, Mr. President. And if you can't go and see about them, then don't worry about your legacy. Because the white people that you've served so well, they'll preserve your legacy. The hell they will. But you didn't earn your legacy with us. We put you there. You fought for the rights of gay people. You fought for the rights of this people and that people. You fight for Israel. Your people are suffering and dying in the streets. That's where your legacy is. Now you failed to do what should have been done. But it's never too late.
Okay, so that is the bulk of what I wanted to, the excerpt that I wanted you to hear. He talks about, to me, that is the coalition that I think that most people would have preferred to have seen. But it just seems that now that Kamala Harris, which is a 2020 presidential candidate, she wants to use it in her exchanges on stage to try to de facto, I guess, who still belongs to the Obama coalition. But can you imagine what a coalition would have been like if he had taken on, some of the gangs, in a meeting, like, just for instance, if everybody can remember when President Donald Trump went into office, he reached out to the Black community. He's reached out to Blacks on, from all walks of life, whether you've served, whether you're serving time. He's asked for names. But, if the people of Chicago actually went to Minister Farrakhan and because they could not seem to get a meeting, or if they could not, be a part of what I think an ideal coalition, would have meant, then that's why, the party is struggling today. There will never be another opportunity quite like the one that Barack Obama had. So this coalition, this myth, this mirage that Kamala keeps parroting, it doesn't hold a lot of weight. At least it doesn't. It doesn't appeal to many people. I mean, to me, it's probably more of a globalist, it's more of a globalist or NGO type of coalition that she's referring to. It wasn't really a uniting kind of movement that she's referring to. So that's why they're struggling, because many of their candidates they're not formidable opponents for President Donald Trump in this upcoming election. In fact, you've got the other half of what I was wanting to get into a little bit, is that, you've just seen like this whole propaganda ministry, or the foot soldiers, or the Black overseers, the plantation overseers are all coming out. I mean, or either they've used even Ana Navarro, I think, was the last one that came out denying the polls, or trying to distract from the Emerson and I think the Rasmussen poll from last Friday that was released from Breitbart. I believe that source was the source that I saw it on. But I just thought that was pretty interesting that that, of course, Michelle Obama came out talking about, her childhood and the white flight. And I just wonder, like, oh my gosh, who's fleeing from Chicago right now? Who's fleeing right now? I mean, the Black on Black, violent crime with the guns every weekend. I mean, what about the Black flight, right? The Black on Black flight. And in fact, she's not living in those neighborhoods anymore. She's living they have a new estate. So they're fleeing themselves. So it's just very interesting that this whole Obama coalition, or his legacy, to me seems to be either something he's still fighting for, because the healthcare Act has been gutted or on its way out. There's very little remnants of that left. And I don't think that there's going to be anybody in this group of presidential candidates that are going to revive any of that or, bring it to give it any sustainability. It's just going to it's already fizzled. So I will try to include that particular link, the title of that. Like here again, I was saying that, I'm not advocating for, of course, the Nation of Islam, but you can't deny that Minister Farrakhan is pretty well connected, whether it's through his religion or his brotherhood. But on a pretty wide scale, he's pretty well connected, and he knows. I think that's why a lot of people have tried to silence him, whether it was Facebook or, some of these other platforms. But if you will stay tuned, I will do my best to do more of these in the future. And I also wanted to do another note about the podcast. There are, I think, at least 6 platforms about now. I think there's Google Podcast. There is Anchor.fm. There's Radio Public. There is Pocket Cast. And I do believe I'm missing maybe 2 others, but a couple of, they're getting picked up pretty regularly, and sometimes I lose a little bit of track. But thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you back maybe for another episode on the live stream, Black Spring with Autumn. Happy Thanksgiving.